Hello, this is Mish, and welcome to another review of the TV series called Taboo. This is for episode number 4. Before I get started, this will contain spoilers, so if you're not up to date, pause this, go and watch it, then come back later. So as normal with my reviews of Taboo, I'm going to go over the whole episode, the main parts that I've picked up on, then I'll just go into a few points at the end, my thoughts, and some questions that I have, and some theories I have as well. So let's start with the intro sequence. So it's James is having a dream, and it's flashback, I believe, to what happened when his boat sunk previously. So he's drowning, and he gets woken up by Lorna Bowe. He has to help her. Well, he lets her know there's a plan going on here. So Lorna Bowe is being captured by the King's Guard and taken to prison. So quickly before that happened, James tells her, don't sign the papers, just hold out, because he was going to tell the East Indian Company and they will come and stop it, because the King and the East Indian Company should have had a deal going on there. They were going to work on a common ground, but that's been broken. He tells her to hold out, you must hold out. And we see that situation play out. Very dark scene, visually and acting as well. I was surprised to see how dark the character Coop went. I thought Coop was going to be more the voice of reason behind the King, maybe an even hand of the King, but quite the opposite. He's clearly not that. If anything, he seems to be possibly a darker force with the King, or Prince Regent, whatever you want to say, because I've heard him referred to a few different ways in this episode. Okay, so on to what happened with the East Indian Company. So we see, she didn't sign a deal. She held out, and then the East Indian Company came to save her. That scene with the East Indian Company, with Sir Stuart Strange, which played by Jonathan Pryce, that was fantastic. Whilst I know it was a very serious scene, and it was great acting, I still couldn't help but laugh, because it was so amusing from the point of view of James Delaney. It was really good. And it was just, great acting by Jonathan Pryce there on being so angry. And that scene was fantastic. And just the betrayal, they had the deal that we're going to work together, common ground, and now, because of what happened, the East India Company is withdrawing their negotiators from their talk. This whole situation played out, and James knew this was going to play out. So once again, James, very astute, very knowledgeable, very clever in all proceedings here, what's going on. So pretty cool. Okay, so now let's skip on to a scene that had James talking to Godfrey. So if you remember, Godfrey has been paid out. He's the note taker for East Indian Company, and James paid him out to tell him what's going on. So we heard that the Prince Regent will not accept the monopoly, so he's declined the offer. And the only thing that they believe that James Delaney is going to be able to trade with the Indians at Nooka Sounds is gunpowder. And currently, in a time of war, which it is, the only people that are allowed to manufacture gunpowder is the Crown. So here we have the main story arc for the rest of the episode, James on the hunt for gunpowder. So then we have an introduction of a new character. So Mr. Chomondelli, I think it is. So he's a chemist, or I guess you could say he's a magician, because he is performing shows, but his main core skill is a chemist. So James hires his service. They go to the mill. The mill's occupants, if you remember, is James's so-called half-brother, but that may be his son in my opinion, and his guardians, I guess you could say. So they go to find out if it is suitable to harvest items for making gunpowder. So Mr. Chomondelli says it's going to take about a year with all that we have here, unless they break into the warehouse of the East Indian Company to steal some accelerant agent. So in this case, it's saltpeter. Or, if you look it up, is actually potassium nitrate. So they also need oak wood. And they don't have any oak wood there. They've got different types of wood. So the solution for helping that out is if you soak the ash of the wood with human urine, it's going to help that. So in come the whorehouse to help out with that. He's going to pay them to urinate on the ash, or have urine in the ash there to help that. Another accelerant there to bring the time it's going to take to make the black powder down to a couple of weeks as opposed to a year. Then we see Mr. Chomondelli leave. So once again we see a kind of a weird shamanistic ability that James has. So he kind of reads the horse's movements and figured out something isn't right with that scenario that he's going to jump on a horse and walk out. And he's correct. There's an assassin hiding to take him out. Followed along with a pretty ruthless fight scene. James is pretty brutal with that knife, and I really like how he fights so smart, really clever. He seems to know he's physically beaten in this fight, so he acts unconscious. to really catch the assassin unaware, and he does that with brutal consequences, real slice and dice scenario there. So then on to the next major scene. James and Lorna attend a party, so that's the Countess Musgrave's party. So it was really an invitation by the Americans, not so much her, even though we find out who she is in a minute. So they propose a deal to match the other deals for Nooka Sounds, with an additional safe passage for James and Zilpha to go together and be someone else in America. So that was interesting, and he still seems to be denying that deal anyway. So we learn also that Countess Musgrave is Carlsbad. So she's in control of the American information in the agenda in England by the look of it. So a few other things happened at that party, which was pretty cool. So whilst the party was in full swing, we also see that James's plan to steal that saltpeter is in action. So that's helped along with Atticus and a couple of goons he's got, and Helga with some of the prostitutes that she has. So we see them break into the East Indian Company docks, take out the guards, explode the door, and steal that saltpeter. So then back to the party. Thorn Greery. So that's Zilpha's husband. Now he is high on the chemist's items and booze and whatever else is going on there. So he nearly tells the whole room about James and Zilpha. But James manages to escort him out the door with a couple of punches and maybe a knee in there as well. Then he challenges him to a duel. Now, the question is, will he accept? That's tricky. But that's, I guess, in summary, the whole episode. Many things that I've skimmed over there, but that's the main pith of the episode, so the main core of things that happened. So let's, I guess, summarize here. Another fantastic episode. Really good, really dark. I really like how it's kind of, we have a different story arc here about how James is now going for the black powder as opposed to what there was going on before. So I liked how it's still fresh with that. Some people have mentioned it's quite slow, and I agree it is. It's not action-packed. I mean, there's definitely action in it. There was quite a bit of action in this one as opposed to the other ones, but it is a slow show. But I think it really suits the setting that it's in to be quite slow, and I think it suits the characters and the character development, and it's really cool. So I quite like it. So now a couple of things I just want to mention here before I finish up. So a couple of points. Will James accept the duel against Thorn? Now I think whilst he definitely wants to, I don't think it's in his best interest. I think you have to think of Zilpha in that scenario. She wants to lead a normal life with Thorn, even though he is a complete douche. And that's obviously going to ruin it if he kills him. So I don't know if he will because of that reason. And also, could he get in trouble for killing Thorn anyway? He seems like he's quite high up in the status of the society, and he could get in trouble for that. So it might be more trouble than it's worth. He might just try and avoid it. Another question here. Do the Americans know he's trying to build black powder? So I think they probably do, because they say they know everything. And also, remember, the assassin was at the mill waiting for him. So they knew his whereabouts. So they'd probably know the reason why he was going there. So I think the Americans know, but how long are they going to let him do it for? So that's interesting how that will play out. So I want to raise a question that someone mentioned in the last week's episode in the comment section. Thanks for the comment as always. So it was JB TechCon 4. So they mentioned, I'm curious about other people's opinions on something. Does magic exist in this show? And I think that's a fantastic question. I don't think it's magic. And we had a bit of a discussion about it. I think it's probably shamanism. And that's what JB TechCon 4 mentioned as well. Shamanism seems to make sense because it seems that it's that African shamanism that he's using. It's not too heavy. It's not a lot of it, but there's definitely something. We see him, I guess, an ability with animals. We have the dog and we have the horse incident, and we see him having visions. We see him having visions in his sleep and also in the day, and being told things by spirits. That spirit told him to dig behind him in the chimney. He's seen, I guess, his father on the beach many times. He's seen his father standing next to him. If you watch an episode in episode 2, there's a scene you can see his father standing there watching him. It's quite freaky. But yeah, so definitely shamanism, I think. So it's going to be cool to see how that plays out, because you got his shamanism that he's got from Africa, and also it looks like his mother is possibly the same shamanism. If you remember her visions, she seems very, I guess, it looks more like she's a witch, but I guess it could be shamanism. And it's going to be cool to see how that plays out, if there's any more characters which bring more stuff to the table. But I kind of like how it's not so heavy within the show. It's just a little sprinkling of shamanism here and there, enough that it doesn't put people off. Because I know magic in shows can put people off a lot, but this one is just a bit to keep us guessing, but yeah, not too much, which is pretty cool. The only other point I want to raise here as well is the half-brother at the mill once again. Now, he's in it enough to make me think that there's a reason why he's in it. And I wonder if that reason is what I've mentioned before. Is he actually not his half-brother? Is he actually his son from the relationship between him and Zilpha? That's a possibility. Or maybe even James with another person as well. But James and Zilpha, obviously we know that's happened. Could that be another taboo? Or another reason why to call the show Taboo? Because of that situation. It's a possibility. And it could be a reason why we keep seeing him come back. Because I wouldn't think there's a reason for him to be involved anymore if he was just his half-brother, because he's had no lines. He's just kind of secretly, every now and again, he pops up in a scene like that. Okay, so I'll leave this video here. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making this, and I really enjoyed the show, this one as well. This season is really good, really liking it. Once again, leave your comments and feedback below. As always, it's always really appreciated. Thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't obviously, and subscribe for future content from this show, and also there's some more coming up in the future as well. So stay tuned for that, and until next time, this is Mish, and I'll see you later.